And a pleasant good evening to you, and welcome back inside Florence, Kentucky for Game 2 between the Florence Y'alls and the Evansville Otters. I'm Matthew Will, joining you here in the press booth, just a few moments away from first pitch. Tell you, out of nowhere, about 4:30 today, it just started pouring down rain here in Florence. Had about a good solid hour of rain, and because of it, started to mess with some internet things. So apologies that we're getting started a little bit later than usual. If for any reason our stream happens to disappear on you in the middle, that is the reasoning. They're hoping to make sure everything that can be done here can stay done. All things considered, it does look like we're going to be ready to play baseball here. Couple of changes for the uh, Otters today, as we're going to get to see Anthony Torrellas get a shot back in the starting nine, as well as Elijah Mcnamee return to the starting nine as well. A quick recap of what happened last night. Otters got on top early, getting a couple of runs in the second inning, adding a couple more runs after giving up a solo home run, eventually going up 5-1 at one point in the game. But then in the bottom of the eighth inning, after Parker Brahms had thrown 13 strikeouts and a masterclass of a game, he allowed a couple of runners on. The Otters option of Jake Plancic in the pen. He really struggled, giving up all the runners that were on when he got there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the game was tied at 5 apiece. We went to the ninth inning. Jeffrey Baez managed a triple with one out, but he was stranded at third. And then, lo and behold, in the bottom of the ninth inning, Florence got a big win over Evansville 6-5 with an RBI single by Axel Johnson to right field. Ready for the anthem here, as they've just read the starting lineups here from Florence, Kentucky. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got first pitch between the Y'alls and Otters right here on the Otters Digital Network. And it is game time from Florence, Kentucky, as the Y'alls and Otters about to do battle for the second night in a row. Second game of a three-game midweek set here, right next to the highway. And tell you what, out of nowhere today, about 4:30, got real dark, got real windy, and the temperature drops probably 25 degrees, and it poured down rain here at Thomas More Stadium for, I don't know, probably an hour of really hard rain, hard wind as well. But a lot of that started to dissipate about 5:30, 5:45. We started to see uh, a lot more of the clouds move out of the area. But now, as we are approaching the first pitch, there is more drizzle that has been coming down recently, but not enough that'll keep us from playing. It does help that this field is a uh, all turf surface, so that helps as well. We're ready to get going here with the top of the first inning. Yasel Santana will man things up on the mound for the Florence Yalls. Here are the men he'll be facing. The center fielder, Miles Gordon, leads off for the Otters. Batting second, the designated hitter, Zach Biermann. Batting third is the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Steven Sinsley. Batting fifth, the right fielder, Elijah Mcnamee. Batting sixth, the catcher, Dakota Phillips. Batting seventh is the second baseman, J.R. Davis. Batting eighth, the shortstop, George Khalil. And batting ninth is the third baseman, Anthony Torrellas. Justin Watlin returns to the mound for the Otters. More on him in the back half of the first inning. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, at the dish and ready for the first pitch of this game. Takes it for a called strike one on the high inside corner. And we are underway at 6:37. 0-1 from Santana is lifted high and deep towards left center field. But Brocado thinks he's underneath it, and indeed he is for out number one. So exactly what the Yalls were wanting to have happen with them. Nice quick early out, and it'll bring up Zach Biermann. Zach Biermann trying to keep his really solid season alive. Hefty swinging strike one in last night's game. Biermann failed to get a hit, struck out 2 of his 5 times, did make it on base once with a walk. The 0-1 headed his way, and it's another swinging strike. This one for strike 2. That just stayed a bit high in the zone, and he swung right underneath it. Swinging strike 3 will sit down Zach Biermann in just 3 pitches. And it is quickly 2 up, 2 down for Evansville. So that will bring up Jeffrey Baez, who managed a triple last night. Originally, I thought it was a single with 2 errors, but then later after the game, they decided to change it, I believe. It's a called strike 1 to start off for Jeffrey Baez. He nods his head in agreement. 0-1 this time stays a bit high on the slider, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Defense playing straight up on Baez. He watches strike 2 go by on the low outside corner, and he falls down in the count 1-2. 1-2 is the count towards Yancel Santana. Right back up the middle from Baez. Sliding grab by Stern. The throw to first is in time for out number 3. Quickly, 3 up, 3 down for the Otters. Unable to do anything in the top half of the first. After one half, it's Otters 0. Yalls coming up to bat right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Really quick first inning there for Yancel Santana. Sits down the Otters in order. And that will get us straight into the bottom half of the first, where Justin Watlin will head to the mound, trying to answer the strong performance from starter Parker Brahms last night for Evansville. And for Justin Watlin, struggled last week at Schaumburg. A bad second inning was the worst of it. Otters were able to win because they had lots of offense on the opposite side, but he only lasted 4 complete innings, giving up 7 runs on 11 hits. Otters certainly hoping he can bounce back. First pitch from Justin Watlin is it's a ball that stays just a tad low. The 1-0 from Watlin, skied high towards shallow left field. Khalil seems to be underneath it, and he is indeed for out number 1. Watlin's best performance of the year was probably his game at Trois-Rivières, where he pitched a 7-inning complete game, giving up 2 runs, only one of them earned on 4 hits. He received the loss, though, because the Otters could not manage any offense in the game and lost 2-0. That was a very good performance up there. He also pitched very well at Gateway, giving up no runs on 2 hits in 7 innings. Causes Alberti Chavez to send one foul to the left side and end up in the stands. He's managed 9 strikeouts in 3 separate outings. Swinging strike 2 has Alberti Chavez down in the count 0-2. Long wait for Chavez to get back in the box. Seems ready to go. Watlin's going to wind up and deal in the 0-2. Push to the left side. Off the side half wall. Remains an 0-2 count. Defense playing straight up, maybe a tad bit pulled to the left side on the infield. The 0-2 towards Chavez, high and outside. Watlin's on the mound, and it's Dakota Phillips behind the plate for the Otters. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Call them at 812-475-9000. Time is called by Chavez before the 1-2 can be sent home. The rest of the defensive alignment for the Otters: Baez, Gordon, Mcnamee, left to right across the outfield. Torrellas at third. Khalil at short, Davis at second, Steven Sinsley at first. The 1-2, and Chavez again fouls it to the left side. A little bit of a breeze, and it's pushing out towards the left side. The 1-2 just misses on the inside edge. Nice fastball there from Watlin. Count evens up at 2-2. Defense is still pulled just a tad bit to the left out there. The 2-2 to Chavez. Lifted out towards right field. Mcnamee with a long run towards it, and it drops in front of him for a base hit. Just died once it got into the air there. Kind of pushed against the little bit of a breeze that was out there. So with 1 on and 1 out, Harrison DeNicola will head to the plate. Last night, DeNicola managed just an 0-for-2 line before being subbed out later in the game. Watlin with a glance over towards first, and here comes the first pitch towards DeNicola. Stays just under the knees for ball 1. Sinsley trying to keep the man close over there at first. Here comes the 1-0. Lifted high and fouled to the left side. It'll get out of play. In fact, it'll probably get out of the ballpark. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. These two squads will play once more tomorrow night before the Otters head towards the Cleveland area to face Lake Erie for a 3-game set. Then they're right back at home next week on Tuesday night to face off with the Joliet Slammers. 1-1 the count to DeNicola. There goes the runner. It's a hit and run that is fouled off to the left side. And DeNicola falls back in the count 1-2. So a long walk back to first there from Chavez. On the season, Alberti Chavez is 6 for 9 when it comes to stolen base attempts. A 1-2 just misses. Must have been to the high side of zone. And that evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 count to Harrison DeNicola. There goes the runner once again. The throw out to second. Looks good. Did they get him on the tag? They did. Sliding past the bag was Alberti Chavez. And he throws his helmet in frustration. So it's a caught stealing there for Dakota Phillips. And Phillips is looking really good in that category now. He's caught half of the runners who have attempted on him. 5 of 10. Got a crazy strong arm behind the dish. 3-2 is the count to DeNicola, and he lifts it high and foul. Straight back pretty much. Three-two is the count towards Harrison DeNicola. He lifts this one high, foul yet again, and it will get out of play, end up on the concourse. So Torrellas will make the walk back over towards third. Defense is playing deep, pretty much just wanting to get the one out. The 3-2 on the way to DeNicola. Chopped back right up the middle. Picked up by Watlin. An off-balance throw is offline. And DeNicola is going to reach. And they'll go ahead and call this one an infield single for Harrison DeNicola. So that will bring up the 6'9", 300-pound first baseman, Brennan Price. He could change just about any game he's involved in with one swing of the bat. He's got a runner out there at first in the form of DeNicola now, who on the season is 2 for 2 in stolen base attempts. First offering's a called strike one on the low corner. Price with an average just under the 300 line. The 0-1 on its way towards Brennan Price now. Bounces in for ball one. Phillips had to move to his right side in order to keep it in front of him. Dakota Phillips has 10 pass balls this year. That's the part of his game he's wanted to work on most, I assume. I know that the Otters spent a lot of time with some pass ball training earlier this week. A 1-1, swinging strike two by Brennan Price. Nice off-speed pitch there from Justin Watlin. And he's got himself a potentially one pitch away from ending the inning. 1-2 count towards Brennan Price. Watlin kicks and delivers. Swinging strike three. It's caught. Yes, it is. But now the umpires are going to meet. They must be saying that it was bounced in. Phillips thought he had caught it. And they're going to say foul ball, saying that it went into the dirt before it got into the glove of Phillips. Very short meeting of the umpires there near the pitcher's mound, and because of it, the count remains at 1-2 with 2 outs and a runner on first. Watlin readies himself, a glance towards first, and here comes the 1-2. Runner in motion, swinging strike 3, so the runner won't matter. Otters are able to get themselves out of the inning after allowing 2 separate base runners. After 1 full, we're still scoreless from Florence. Top of the second, coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased you're joining us on a Wednesday evening from Florence, Kentucky. Y'all's got the best of the Otters last night, 6-5 in walk-off fashion. Evansville looking for a little bit of revenge. And to kick off this second inning, it'll be the middle 3 of Sinsley, Mcnamee, and Phillips. Sinsley last night managed just 1 hit in 4 at-bats. Was also hit by a pitch and came around to score later after that hit by pitch. Yasiel Santana regroups on the mounds, glances around his infield, and Sinsley's in. We're ready for the first pitch of the at-bat. Sent on the way, and it's outside ball 1. Santana has a very long warm-up. Takes him a while to get through his whole motion. The 1-0 catches zone this time. Dead center, maybe a little bit low in the zone as well, but it's a called strike 1, evening the count. 1-1 count. It's lifted high. Infield. Stearns getting underneath it. There at second base and hauls it in for out number 1. So that will bring up the right fielder Elijah Mcnamee, who did not play last night. He was very close to playing as he was supposed to come up in the 10th inning for Evansville, but didn't end up getting that opportunity. Mcnamee has reached base safely in 25 straight games played. First pitch is just a bit high for ball 1. Mcnamee waiting on his 1-0. Pitch on the way, and it's outside, ball 2. Slider just got away from Yasiel Santana. Defense playing straight up for Elijah Mcnamee. Here comes his 2-0. Just catches the zone on the low outside edge. 2-1 the count. Mcnamee managed a home run against the Lake Erie Crushers this last weekend, just his 3rd of the season. But I tell you what, he got a hold of that ball, sent it out towards the Corona patio deck. Able to clip something down into the dirt, and he falls down in the count to 2-2. Billy Easley, the assistant coach and catching coach for these Otters, standing over there in the first base catcher's box. Headman Andy McCauley over on the left side in the third base one. Here comes the 2-2 towards Mcnamee. Pushed foul towards the netting. Dakota Phillips is due up next for the Otters. He's another one that had some power in that Lake Erie series. In fact, he had a grand slam during that huge 11-run inning. A 2-2 again fouled back into the netting. Good to see another group of Otter faithful there behind the dugout for Evansville. The 2-2, Mcnamee again fouls one off, this towards the left side, again bouncing towards there. Two the count. Here comes the 2-2. Swinging strike three, caught Mcnamee choking inside. And it's the second strikeout of the game for Yasel Santana. It'll bring up the catcher Dakota Phillips, who last night managed one base hit, but he reached on two other appearances, once with a walk, once with an error. His error there towards the end of the game when he reached first and then eventually second also brought home Steven Sinsley. Hefty swing on the strike one for Dakota Phillips. It's definitely been a year of runs for Phillips, so he'll get on a really good hot streak and have 6, 7, 8 games in a row where he is hard to beat. Then he falls into a 2 or 3 game slump where he is guilty of a lot of strikeouts, but almost every time, or at least every time so far, he's bounced back for a long stretch of games, have some positivity in his game. Looking at a 1-1 count now. Lifts the ball high and foul. It'll get out of play to the left side. So his count is 1-2 now. Otters are certainly hoping not to have to go to their bullpen too early in this game. The 1-2 to Santana, from Santana. Missed high and away. Evens count at 2-2. There was a lot of frustration from the Otters last night to see that game just vanish under their eyes once the bullpen got involved. So obviously the big feeling around the clubhouse and the dugout is, man, we really need some consistency there in that bullpen, and we really need a couple of solid performances to solidify where we're at right now. So when the Otters have to go to the bullpen this evening, they will sure hope that it can make a big difference right away. Two is the count to from Yasel Santana as Phillips is waiting on it at the plate. 2-2's lifted high, foul. Will it get out of play? Yes, it will. Good work from Phillips to keep himself alive in the counts and stay defensive. And just like that, the defense does just a little bit of a shift, especially on the left side of the infield. The 2-2. Ooh, low and inside. That's a hard pitch for Phillips to lay off. Good work for him. And just like that, the count is full, and we have a payoff pitch. 3-2 is our count. Long wait on the mounds from Santana. Here comes the payoff pitch. Low, ball 4, and Phillips is going to earn his way to first with 2 outs. That'll bring up the hard-hitting second baseman J.R. Davis. Had a triple and a double in last night's game. Well, on the bright side this evening is due to the incredible amounts of rain and wind we got there for about an hour or so here from Florence, it really cooled things down. Davis watches a called strike one go across on the outside edge. And falls behind the count early. Davis with a little bit of a closed stance as he waits on the 0-1. Zooms it out towards left field. They are just going to watch that one fly. It is gone. 2 runs for the Otters via the J.R. Davis home run. And in the second straight game, the Otters have taken a 2-0 lead in the second. Tell you what, the Otters had their first time in 9 games without a home run last night. Quickly, J.R. Davis changes that fact. Brings home Dakota Phillips with him. The Otters lead by a pair. There's a reason that the Otters are leading the league in home runs, and it's because almost anyone on their lineup can do it. It'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil, who I think has been exceptional in these last couple of series. Not going to get you a hit every single time. No ball player is, but he always seems to throw a base hit in there when the squad needs it. Looking at a 1-0 count after the high inside pitch. Takes one right across the heart of the plate, evening the count at 1-1. Khalil will walk out after the stepping off the mound of Santana. Now we're ready for the 1-1. Just catches the high outside corner for strike 2. And now George Khalil will have to get smart in there. The 1-2 is bouncing foul to the left side, remains 1-2. So Khalil will regroup before heading back to the plate. He's ready on the 1-2. Pitch headed his way. Swinging strike 3. Khalil will sit down with the K, but not before J.R. Davis brings home 2 runs with a 2-run home run. Evansville leads by 2 as we head to the bottom half of the second inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Ready to go at the bottom half of the second inning here. Otters leading by a pair after a 2-run home run from the second baseman, J.R. Davis. Leading off the half inning will be Ethan Stern. In last night's game, Stern was 1 for 3 with a single in the 5th inning. Was one of the strikeout victims to Parker Brahms. Fastball just misses on the high side of the zone for ball 1 from Justin Watlin. Watlin definitely looking for a better second inning than his first. The 1-0 falls in for a called strike 1 on the outside edge. Count evens up. Watlin, a guy who will pitch out of both the windup and the stretch regardless of the situation, is staying pretty consistent with the windup early parts of this game. 2-1. Winds up and sends it home. It's put out towards Khalil at short, plays it on 2 hops, the throw to first, and plenty of time for out number 1. That'll bring up the center fielder, Anthony Brocado. Brocado probably most well known right here for the unreal hit he had at Gateway earlier this last week that gave the Y'alls a almost walk-off win. It was in the top of the 9th inning that he did it. Last night, he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and a sacrifice fly RBI that tied the game in the bottom of the 8th. So 1-0 is the count to Brocado after the pitch missed outside. Watlin kicks and delivers on the 1-0. And a foul tip back into the glove of Dakota Phillips evens the count at a ball and a strike. Bottom of the 2nd inning here, Otters lead by a pair. The 1-1 on its way to Brocado. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch way high and out of the zone. He shakes his head in frustration after that. So here comes the 1-2 towards Anthony Brocado. Lifts it high, foul to the right side. It'll get out of play. One ball, 2 strikes with an out and no one on towards Anthony Brocado. Pitch on the way from Watlin. Stays low. The count evens up at 2-2. Defense playing straight up, but rather deep for Anthony Brocado. The 2-2's on its way. Lines it out into left field. Baez, as he goes reaching out to his right side, able to bring it in for out number 2. Baez was in the perfect place and stretched out to bring it in for out number 2. Good work out there in left field. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Joe Lytle. Last night, Lytle got his first opportunity in the game all the way in the 8th inning, walked his way on base. First pitch towards him. Called strike 1. Little righty-lefty matchup here with Watlin throwing right-handed on the mound and Lytle lining up as a left-handed batter. Here comes the 0-1 towards Lytle. Curveball falls in at the last second. And he's ahead in the count 0-2. So that will give Watlin an opportunity to set him down with the 0-2. It's lifted high out towards center field. Gordon running back to the wall near the warning track and then hauls it in for out number 3. And after 2 complete innings, the Otters are still leading this one 2-0 here from Florence, Kentucky. And we are ready to go here in the top of the third inning. Much better second inning for Justin Watlin, able to keep things composed and controlled, and has his Otters still up 2 as they return to the plate. They'll lead off with the 9-hole man, Anthony Torrellas. Torrellas got to start the final game against Lake Erie. In the game, not only did he reach base for the first time in his professional career, he also picked up his first professional hits, a double in that long 5th inning. Hard hit right back up the middle, and there's hit number 2 of his career. Hard hit right back up the middle. And he's got his second career hit in his second career game. That'll bring up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, who flew out to deep center his first time up. And the defense moves its way a little to the right side now, expecting Davis to pull just a little bit. First pitch, and he bunts it. It'll end up foul right behind home plate, though. Torrellas looked like he was ready to take off towards second. We don't really know the speed capabilities of Anthony Torrellas yet. We have not got to see them in his couple of days here with Evansville. The 0-1 for Miles Gordon. Lifts it high in shallow left center field, dropping back is Chavez, and he will bring it in for out number 1. And that will bring up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann, still leading the league in home runs and is still sitting in that top 10 in batting average. But last night did not help him out too much. Officially went 0 for 4, managed to get on base once with a walk. I'll tell you what, the offense works through Zach Biermann. His first offering, outside ball 1. Zach Biermann has one of the quickest bats you'll see, can get that bat around so quickly and gives him the opportunity to pick out his pitches a little bit better. 1-0 the count. They're going to go check over on Torrellas. He's back in plenty of time. Certainly a shorter night for attendance here from Florence than it was last night. Rain probably did part of that. The 1-0 on its way to Biermann. Hefty swinging. Strike 1. He was way out in front of the off-speed pitch there. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. The size difference over there at first is crazy between Torrellas and Price. The 1-1. Biermann hit hard. It's off the glove of the second baseman. They'll go to second for 1, then to first in time. A crazy double play there. Went off the glove of the second baseman. Recomposed himself through to second for 1. They got it to first before Biermann managed to get there. And it is a strange 4-6-3 double play that ends the third inning. After ends the top half of the third inning, and after 2.5, Evansville still leads 2-0. Ready for the bottom of the third, and let's walk you through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard this evening. Already a couple games have gone final. Windy City defeats Florence this afternoon, and Trois-Rivières defeats Tri-City in game one of their doubleheader 3-1 earlier this afternoon as well. Whole bunch of games that have just gotten started. Tri-City up 1-0 on Trois-Rivières in game two of their doubleheader. Washington and Lake Erie are currently in a rain delay, hoping to get started very shortly. Sussex County leads Ottawa 4-1. And the last couple of games are just about to get started. Empire State at New Jersey, New York at Quebec, and Schaumburg at Gateway. Andres Stormes heads to the plate for his first at-bat. He took over at catcher in the late stages of last night's game. Didn't end up getting an at-bat, though. Takes a couple of pitches, and they're both called strikes. He's down 0-2 in the count. Otters defense playing for him to pull to the left side just a little bit. And here comes the 0-2 from Justin Watlin. And it's reached for and chopped foul back towards the netting. So the count remains 0-2 for Andres Stormes. After Stormes, Ray Zuber is due up next for the Yalls. 8-9-1 hitters in this inning. Another pitch fouled back into the netting. And once again, Watlin will prepare for the 0-2. Defense in the outfield playing rather deep for Stormes. As the 0-2 heads home, it bounces in for ball one. Goes off the chest protector of Phillips and ends up all the way in the Otters dugout on the right side. Long wait here as they had to run out there and hand a new ball to Justin Watlin, who is ready to go on a 1-2 count towards Stormes. Kick and delivery from Justin Watlin. Once again low, and this one goes through the legs of Phillips. Nobody on base, so it won't matter. Count falls to 2-2. Otters hoping they don't have to go to the bullpen too early in this one. As the 2-2 heads home to Stormes. Launched into left field, and it'll drop in front of Baez for a base hit. So just the third hit now for Florence. Yet every time they've got a base hit, the very next batter has had something happen that's ended up causing that runner to no longer be out there. First one sat down on a stolen base attempt that was failed. The next one, of course, being stranded out there at the end of the inning of the first. So here comes the first pitch to Ray Zuber, who shows bunt, pulls away at the last second, but it's a called strike one anyway. Defense playing about halfway, hoping for a double play. Watlin has his sign and sends home the 0-1 towards Zuberer. Hit sharply towards the right side. Does stay foul. And it remains an 0-2 count. So Ray Zuberer's trying to keep the quick start of the third inning alive for the Florence Yalls. Justin Watlin trying to sit him down. It would be the second strikeout of the game for Watlin if he could pull it out. The 0-2 stays high and maybe a bit outside as well for ball one. Two sides face off once more tomorrow night. It's a 6:30 start, 5:30 Central Time. They're in Evansville. The 1-2 on the way home to Zuberer. Right back up the middle. Khalil will charge it, pick it up to second for one. They will not throw to first. They'll just take the one sure thing out. Good hard run from Khalil to at least get one. So officially, it's a 6-4 fielder's choice that allows Ray Zuberer to reach. And that will now bring up the leadoff man, left fielder Axel Johnson. He was the hero last night, had the RBI game winner, a single to right field. First pitch towards Johnson. Sends one out towards right field. Chasing back is Mcnamee near the wall, and it's gone. And just like that, the game is tied at 2. Monster hit for Axel Johnson, and for the second night in a row, he is the one trying to keep Florence right there. That is the thing about a lot of these teams in the West. Just about all of them has got a guy who can change the pace of the game just like that. Now it's important for Justin Watlin to regroup there on the mound, bring things back together, and finish out this inning. First pitch is the ball low and away. A pair of 2-run home runs in this game is all of the scoring. Another pitch outside, ball 2 now. So Watlin readies himself before the 2-0. He kicks and delivers. Oh, man, great pitch there. I'm not sure where it missed. Must have been a bit high on the changeup there. 3-0 now the count to Alberti Chavez. Watlin kicks and delivers. Called strike 1, inside edge. And the defense will shift a bit backwards towards the back of the infield dirt. Watlin shakes off a couple pitches, now sends home the 3-1. This one is sent foul to the left side, will end up in the Florence dugout. Nobody on, 1 out. Full count to Alberti Chavez. Florence has just tied the game at 2 runs apiece. So here comes the payoff pitch from Watlin. Sent right back up at him off of his ankle. No one's going to get to it in time. It's Torrellas who runs in and picks the ball up. That's just an unfortunate play off of Watlin's foot. He shakes off the trainer and says, let's just keep going. So it's an infield base hit that allows Chavez to reach for the second time tonight. That'll bring up the right fielder, Harrison Tanicola. Watlin right now is sitting at just over 50 pitches in this game. Still in the third inning. First option to him. Sent high and looks like foul to the left side. Torrellas trying to run it down, and he ends up about 5 feet short. Hefty run for the third baseman there, and he couldn't quite get to it in time. So everyone will head back to their assigned locations to try again on an 0-1 towards Harrison Tanicola. Due up next would be the first baseman, Brennan Price. Otters sure would not like to give him an opportunity with men on. Watlin looks in, ready for the 0-1. Pitch on the way. Sent into right field, down for a base hit. Rounding first is going to be Harrison Tanicola. They're going to send the runner home. There goes Chavez. No relay, and it's an RBI double from Harrison Tanicola, and the Yalls have their second lead of the series. They put that in the perfect place out in right center field area. Mcnamee had a long run to get to it. By the time he sent it towards the second base area, it was way behind, and Max Peterson's going to come have a talk with Watlin. Not at all the area of the game that the Otters want to get the bullpen involved. Doesn't look like anyone's warming up yet out in left field. It's one of the strange things about this ballpark is that the bullpens are opposite of the dugout. So the Otters have the first base dugout, but the left field bullpen. And the bullpens are not in the field like they are at most of the places are like Bossy Field. They are built into the left and right field walls out there right in the corners. So now with a runner on second, just one out, it brings up Brennan Price, the big hitting first baseman. First offering to him, outside ball one. Florence has taken the lead with an RBI double from Harrison Danicola. Scored Chavez all the way from first. The 1-0 on its way. Outside, ball two. I saw Brody Tanksley take off the sweatshirt. He's the bullpen catcher for the Otters, but I have not seen an Otter pitcher get up and start throwing yet. 2-0 is the count towards Brennan Price. On the way, stays low. 3-0 the count now. And right now, Justin Watlin can't pay for a strike. Watson. Watlin ready's on the mound. Fires at home. It's low once again, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Brennan Price. So there's now runners on first and second with just one out in the third inning. That'll bring up the second baseman, Ethan Stern. In his first opportunity in the second inning, Stern grounded out to the shortstop, Khalil. Long wait for Watlin there on the mound. Has his sign and will send the first pitch towards Stern. Shows bunt, pulls away at the last second. It's a called strike one. Low outside corners where Watlin caught the zone. Stern digs back in. Looking at an 0-1. Pitch is on the way. It's chopped foul to the left side. Ends up in the dugout of Florence. And the count's at 0-1. Defense playing at double play depth, trying to get themselves out of this inning that's allowed Florence to take the lead. Justin Watlin looking at an 0-2 count. And first Stern is going to step out. So here comes the 0-2 towards Ethan Stern. And it misses inside and low as well for ball one. Looks like Jacob Bowles is up for the Otters out in left field, but I haven't seen him throwing yet. It looks like they're just kind of moving around, stretching out there. The 1-2 towards Ethan Stern on the way. Dribbled into left field, down for a base hit. Another run coming home is Danicola. He will score on an RBI single. There'll be no throw from Baez in left. And not just the lead disappearing from the Otters, everything disappearing from the Otters. They had a 2-0 lead entering the third inning, and now they're down by a pair. Strong hit there. Just ended up right over the head of Anthony Torrellas. So it had to be Jeffrey Baez to go over and play that ball, and by the time he got there, there was no play to be made. Brings up Anthony Brocado. First pitch he sees, puts out into right field. It is caught by Mcnamee. The throw to second in time for a double play. That is a really important throw for Elijah Mcnamee. It ends the third inning, but not before 2 runs of a lead disappear from the Otters, and they trail 4-2 as we head to the fourth inning. And we are ready to go in the top of the fourth inning. Otters have watched their lead disappear after Watlin struggles there in the bottom of the third inning. Gives up base hits to 4 out of the last 6 hitters he saw. Got saved by a double play caused by poor base running on the case of Brennan Price. Got him out of the inning. Otters will look to bounce back with the middle part of their order. Baez, Sinsley, and Mcnamee due up. The 1-0. Hefty swing on strike one. So Baez looking at an even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Offering his way, he checks his swing. They say no, he did not go. So he's ahead in the count 2-1. Defense is playing him pretty much straight up, as most of the defenses had. It's way outside for ball 3. 3-1 the count now to the big man, Jeffrey Baez. He played in his 890th career game last night, Jeffrey Baez did. Played a lot of baseball over these last 7-8 years. The 3-1 high inside. He tried to check the swing. Did he go? No, he didn't. It's ball 4. And it's a leadoff walk in the fourth for the Otters. And that will bring up the first baseman, Steven Sinsley, who has been really hot in the last 5 or 6 games for Evansville. Although Sinsley struggled a little more last night, just 1 for 4. But Sinsley has further set the record for the Otters in games that he's scored a run in a row. 7 straight games now for Steven Sinsley, scoring at least 1 run. Kind of out of nowhere. He also has the longest RBI streak of the season with 5. There in the 3 games against Gateway and a couple against Florence. The 0-1 on the way towards Sinsley. Lays it off on the outside edge. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Baez, certainly a guy you need to keep an eye on when it comes to stolen bases. You never know when he might try to steal one off you. Although I imagine with the Otters trailing, they'll want to keep the runner. The 1-1 towards Steven Sinsley. Lifts it out towards right field. It's shallow, though, and chasing in is DeNicola. He'll haul it in for the first out of the inning. That will bring up the right fielder, Elijah Mcnamee. Struck out his first time up. Long wait for Mcnamee to get himself to the plate. Looks like he is now ready to go with the first pitch of his at-bat. First offering, lifts it out towards right field, almost right where DeNicola was standing, and he brings it in for one of the easiest outs of his life. So the Otters are able to get a man on to start the inning with a walk to Baez, and then Sinsley and Mcnamee go back-to-back flying out to right field, and there's quickly 2 outs. It'll bring up Dakota Phillips, who walked his first time up, then scored on the 2-run home run from J.R. Davis. Defense is playing for Phillips to pull the ball to the right side. Here comes the first pitch his way. Just catches the outside edge for a called strike 1. Phillips asks for clarification from the home plate umpire. Nodded his head okay afterwards. The 0-1 is on the way now. Sent out towards left center field. Moving over is Brocado, and he hauls it in for out number 3. Leadoff walk for the Otters does absolutely nothing after 3 straight flyouts. Ends this top half of the 4th inning. After 3.5, it's still y'all's ahead, 4-2 here on the Otters Digital Network. And we're set to go in the bottom of the 4th inning. Otters still trailing this one. Coming up empty-handed yet again in the 4th inning. Due up for the Y'alls in this half inning. Lytle, Stormus, and Zuberer. Lytle was the only Y'all who did not come up in the 3rd inning. An inning where the Y'alls managed to score 4 runs. Could have been more if it hadn't been for a poor base running error from Brennan Price. First option from Justin Watlin is ball 1 on the inside that bounced in. A 1-0 zoomed out towards right field. Mcnamee will chase after it and bring it in at the warning track for out number 1. Good work from Mcnamee to work his way over and haul it in for out number 1. We head to the second man of the inning, Andres Stormus, who reached in his first at-bat of the game on a single, but was caught as a part of the fielder's choice that kind of started off that 3rd inning, one where the Y'alls managed to score 4. First pitch is a called strike one on the outside edge. 0-1 is the count towards Andrew Stormus. Bounces in for ball one, and the count's even at 1-1. Otters are trying to avoid losing their second straight game. The 1-1 to Stormus. The Otters have not lost back-to-back games since the Canadian road trip, when they lost 2 at Ottawa at the beginning of that road trip. Ever since, they have put at least a win up between every loss. 2-1, lifted out shallowly towards center field. Gordon will race in towards it and bring it in for out number 2. After really struggling in the early goings of the season, the Otters have won every series since they started Western Division play right after that Canadian road trip. We'll run through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard. And then there's not a ton of changes since our last time through. Lake Erie and Washington scoreless in the second after a long rain delay. Trois-Rivières leads 2-1 at Tri-City in the second game of their doubleheader. Sussex County leads 4-1 at Ottawa in the fourth inning there. Empire State at New Jersey, Schaumburg at Gateway, and New York at Quebec have all started but have no score in them. Ray Zuberer at the plate now. Hefty swinging strike there. Almost lost the shoes. And the count is 1-1. Watlin, deep breath on the mounds. Steps back, sends home the 1-1. The miss is low for ball 2. Well, I have seen both Samson Abernathy and Jacob Bowles both out there in the left field pin without their Otters sweatshirts on and just having their jerseys on. But I haven't seen either start throwing yet. 2-1 right across the heart of the plate for a called strike 2, and the deuces are wild. Defense playing straight up for Ray Zuberer, the 9-hole hitter for these Florence Yalls. Watlin, one pitch away from his second 3-up, 3-down inning. The 2-2 low inside, and there's a full count now. 4-2 our score here in the bottom half of the fourth inning from Thomas More Stadium in Florence, Kentucky. The full count pitch on the way to Zuberer. Called strike 3 on the low inside corner. And Justin Watlin is able to get out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the fifth. Y'all's lead by 2. Top of the fifth inning, J.R. Davis, who hit the home run a couple innings ago, will lead us off here. Davis got a hold of one and put it off the scoreboard in left center field. Brought home Dakota Phillips with him. But since then, the Otters have given up 4 unanswered to the Yalls. For Davis, it was his 5th home run of the year. Brought him up to 20 RBIs. He's one of 4 Otters now with 20-plus RBIs. First pitch, called strike 1 on the low inside corner. 0-1 the counts. Catches the high outside corner now. Davis is down 0-2. The 0-2 from Santana. Just misses a bit high for ball 1. A 1-2 count for J.R. Davis. Pitch on the way. Swinging strike 3, and the Otters start off with a swinging strike to J.R. Davis. And that's the 4th strikeout of the game for Yasel Santana. That'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil, who struck out his first time up, but has had a pretty good couple of weeks, picking up some solid base hits in these last few games. First pitch to him, hefty swing, and he comes up empty-handed, 0-1 the count. The 0-1. Called strike on the high outside corner, and quickly Khalil's down 0-2 in the count. Khalil ready for the 0-2. Pitch is on the way towards him. Swinging strike 3, and it's back-to-back Ks from Yasel Santana. That will bring up Anthony Torrellas. The first time he was up, he had a single in the 3rd, but he was part of a ground into double play by Zach Biermann. It was a strange play, though, because it wasn't really a ground into double play. It was more of a line into double play. Sent hard by Biermann into the, or in and out of the glove of the second baseman Stern. And Torrellas starts with a called strike 1. The 0-1 bounces in, evens the count at 1-1. Torrellas quickly back into the box, wasting no time at all. 1-1 the count towards Torrellas. Pitch is on the way to him. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that just broke away from him. So Santana in a position to strike out the side here. The 1-2. Misses high outside corner. On the fastball there. And it's a 2-2 count with 2 outs and no one on. Here in the top of the 5th inning. The 2-2 to Anthony Torrellas. On the way now. Put out in towards right at DeNicola, the right fielder. Another really easy play for him out there. And it's 3 up, 3 down in the 5th inning for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 5th. Otters trail 4-2 here on the Otters Digital Network. To the bottom of the fifth we go. Otters still trail by a pair, and Justin Watlin remains on the mound. He is sitting right at 75 pitches through 4 innings, and will try to make this inning just as good as the last half one. Y'alls went 3 up, 3 down in the fourth. And starting off this inning, Axel Johnson swings at a strike high and in, and is quickly down 0-1 in the count. The 0-1, another swinging strike. This one breaks away from the hitter Axel Johnson, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Good work from Watlin to come out really in control of his throws to start off. The 0-2 to Axel Johnson. Sent towards Sinsley at first, and it gets by him. Rounding first is going to be Johnson, and he's going to smartly turn back. He would have been gunned down had he not. And they will go ahead and give a base hit to Axel Johnson. So that'll bring up Alberti Chavez, the shortstop, who's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles so far. Axel Johnson getting himself a lead over there at first. Not a very big one, though. As the first pitch to Chavez goes right back up the middle for another base hit. Makes it out into center field, and it's back-to-back singles to lead off the fifth inning for the Yalls. Not the way Justin Watlin wanted to kick off this half inning. No movement from Max Peterson, the pitching coach there for the Otters, so seems like he's going to ask Justin Watlin to keep it up out there. We do have an Otters starting to throw and toss. It looks like it's Tyler Spring out there. Runners at first and second for the Yalls. Otters are trying to have Justin Watlin get him out of this. And a curveball stayed real high for ball one. He'll ask to refresh signs, and because the catcher will go, or the umpire will go out and just make sure that's what was talked about. It was indeed. Runners at first and second. The 1-0 towards Harrison DeNicola. Called strike one. For those who didn't know, like I mentioned there, they had the umpire come out and make sure that's what they talked about. We found out from Tim Holgrafer before he was bought out by the Royals that the reason that they have the umpire go out there is to make sure that if they are just talking about their signs, it's not counted as an official mound visit. They can have as many refreshers as they want, as long as it's just signs they're talking about up there. Two-one count to Harrison DeNicola. No outs, runners on first and second for Florence. They lead by 2. 2-1 falls out of the zone, and it's a 3-1 count. Watlin with a big, deep breath up there on the mound. He looks home. Still waiting on his sign. Finally has it. A look out towards second. And here comes the 3-1. Catches the outside edge for strike 2, and the count is full. Watlin cannot afford to load the bases. Three balls, 2 strikes to Harrison DeNicola. No outs, runners on first and second. A payoff pitch is on the way. And it just doesn't break into the zone. Stays way high. The bases are now loaded. The fifth inning starts with back-to-back singles, then a walk, and the bases are loaded with no outs. Max Peterson not moving an inch down there in the dugout for the Otters. Going to let Watlin see this through for the time being. Bases are jammed. The first pitch to Price is a called strike one on the high inside corner. Looks like Tyler Spring warming up for the Otters right now out there. 0-1 is the count towards Brennan Price. And time is called. Watlin taking his time to get the pitch decisions he wants from the catcher Phillips. And here comes the 0-1. Zoomed out towards left. It's going to stay foul. And it's an 0-2 count for Brennan Price. Justin Watlin actually pitching out of the windup despite the bases being loaded. The 0-2 towards Brennan Price. On the way. Zoomed out towards right field. Chasing back is Mcnamee. Towards the wall. Gone! A grand slam from Brendan Price has given the Yalls 8 runs. And Justin Watlin has watched the 2-0 lead his Otters gave him in the second vanish and get even further away. Max Peterson is making a pitching change. We'll let you know who it is after this. Y'all's lead by 6 now after the big slam from Brendan Price. Tyler Spring is the man called upon for the Otters here in the bottom half of the 5th inning as the Owls have scored 4 for another time. This one on a grand slam from Brendan Price that came after back-to-back singles and a walk, loaded the bases. Still no outs here in the 5th inning. Spring has appeared in just about every other game for the last 10 or 12 games for the Otters. Usually is very strong in there, but he did struggle against Lake Erie in the opening game, giving up 2 runs on 1 hit in his 1 inning of work, mostly due to a couple walks. First batter he faces is Stern, who fires one right back up the middle for a base hit on him. Already 11 hits for Florence, and we're only in the 5th inning. It'll bring up the center fielder, Anthony Brocado. 0 for 2 with a couple of long flyouts for him so far. Brocado stepped in, ready for his first opportunity. First pitch is on the way. Zooms it out towards left, and it's down for a base hit. Back-to-back singles. Still no outs. And Tyler Spring off to the same start in the 5th inning that Justin Watlin was. Absolutely a when it rains, it pours situation for the Otters. Cannot find a break. Runners on first and second. Still no outs in the 5th inning. Y'alls have scored 4 runs already this inning alone. Brings up Joe Lytle. First pitch he sees on the way. Inside, ball 1. Good work from Phillips to keep it in front of him. Good leads both at first and second for the Y'alls. Otters don't really seem to worry about the runners right now. 12 hits in the 5th inning, or 12 hits total, as we're only in the 5th inning for Florence thus far. The 1-0. Zoom to the right side, but it is foul by about 5 or 6 feet. That could have been extra bases and multiple runs had it dropped on the right side of the foul line, but it ended up just foul. So the count's at 1-1 for Joe Lytle. Pitch on the way from Spring. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. Much needed strike there for Tyler Spring. One ball, 2 strikes. The pitch on the way to Lytle. He fouls it off his foot. Makes its way all the way back up to Tyler Spring. But due to it just being fouled off the foot, everyone will remain the same, and it's still a 1-2 count. It has been a really difficult last 2 games for Justin Watlin. More on that in a bit. The 1-2 towards Joe Lytle. Tyler Spring ready's on the mound. Look out towards second. Fires home the 1-2. Swinging strike 3, and finally the Otters have their first out of this 5th inning. That will bring up the catcher Andres Stormis, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout. Spring with a deep breath on the mound, looks in for his sign, shakes off a couple, and now he's ready for the first pitch to Andres Stormis. First one's on the way, and it's way outside, ball 1. Ended up in the opposite batter's box. Spring, huge guy up there on the bump, 6'6". Can get a lot of vertical movement on some of these pitches. The 1-0. Swinging, strike 1, evens the count of the ball and a strike. The off speed has looked good from Tyler Spring, especially after the couple of base hits he's given up. The 1-1, George Stormis on the way. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that broke away from the dish. Runners on first and second for Florence. Just 1 out in the half inning. They've already put up 4 runs in the 5th inning alone. The 1-2 lifted high into shallow center field. Gordon makes the long run in for out number 2. He had to go a long way and kind of looked like Davis and Khalil were just going to let him make the play. Indeed, they did. That'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, third baseman Ray Zuber, the 9th hitter of this at-bat. The defense on the right side of the infield for the Otters will pull to the right side. Davis playing a very deep second base. First pitch to Ray Zuber. On the way now. Hit sharply to the right side, but it is foul off the sidewall. It'll end up all the way out there where Mcnamee will make a play. Counts at 0-1 for Ray Zuber. 2 separate innings of 4 runs apiece for the Yalls have them up 8-2 in this game, out hitting the Otters 12-2. The 0-1 from Tyler Spring, way up hot, evens the count at 1-1. Good work from Phillips to climb the ladder and keep that one in front of him. 1-1 is the count towards Ray Zuber, with 2 outs and runners on first and second. Time is called by Zuber behind the plate. Rightfully so. That was a long stare down from Spring, waiting on a right count up there on the bump. He shakes his head once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. A big shake. And now he's ready on the 1-1. The pitch on the way. Misses low. 2-1 now. Wind is blowing right out towards right center field. 2-1 is the count towards Zuber with 2 outs and 2 on. Spring desperately looking for out number 3. Pitch is on the way. Skied out towards center field. Gordon zooming back towards the warning track and about 5 feet in front of it will haul it in for out number 3. All 9 men of the Yalls see the plate once in this inning. 4-run score on a grand slam from Brennan Price. And the Yalls extend their lead to 6, now up 8-2 after 5 complete innings. ready to go in the top of the 6th inning. And the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, will lead us off. He's got an 0-2 line with a couple of high outs into center field thus far. One on a fly out, one on a pop out. Starts off with a called strike one on the low inside corner. 0-1 is swung on and missed. The changeup got him way out in front, and it's an 0-2 count quickly against Miles Gordon. Gordon waiting on the 0-2. Pitches on the way from Santana. Swinging strike 3. And it's the 5th strikeout of the game for Santana. They'll bring up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann, who had a RBI chance of sorts in the 3rd inning, but he lined into a double play instead. Biermann's first offering. Hefty hit to the right side, in and out of the glove of Price, but he'll go toss it to Santana, who gets the first in time for out number 2. That'll bring up the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out and a walk thus far. Only 2 hits for the Otters thus far. One belongs to J.R. Davis, a 2-run home run. The other one belongs to Anthony Torrellas, a single in the 3rd inning. So the defense playing pretty much straight up on every side for Baez. First pitch he sees, a hefty cut that comes up way empty-handed. And he's down 0-1 in the count. Baez steps back in, readies himself, and the second pitch is headed his way. Sends it chopping to the left side. Played on one hop by Zuberer. The long throw to first is in time for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Otters in the 2nd straight inning. Then we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Otters still trail by 6. And we're ready for the bottom of the 6th inning here. Tyler Spring will return on the mound for the Otters. Forgot to mention last inning that call to the bullpen was presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Spring on the mound, Phillips behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000 and let them know that Evan the Otter sent you there. Axel Johnson will lead off the 6th inning, just like he led off the 5th inning. He started a 4-run bottom of the 5th for the Yalls his last time up. First pitch towards Johnson. Just misses. Must have been outside a hair for ball 1. So Spring readies himself. Not as much time taken between pitches here. The 1-0 on its way towards Johnson. Misses low and down, ball 2. And, I think last night was the first time we really saw one of the contract buyouts for the Otters hurt them. Joe Riley, usually that setup man in the late stages of games, obviously not on the team now, so he was not able to be in the game. They had to go with Jake Polancic. He struggled, leading to the big comeback there for the Yalls. 2-0 towards Johnson. Skied high towards shallow right field. Mcnamee will chase in. He'll call everybody off and bring it in for out number 1. Brings up Alberti Chavez, who has singles in all 3 at-bats. But then I guess you're seeing it as, once again today is, obviously you have no idea what the starting rotation would look like if Tim Holgrafer was still with the team. That's a big what if right now. Justin Watlin was really good in his first 4 starts, really good. But in his last 2, it has gone south very quickly for him. Spring trying to help out now. First pitch he throws is a called strike on the outside edge. Oh, 1 count towards Alberti Chavez. Stays high, and the count evens at 1-1. 15 earned runs Justin Watlin has given up in the last 2 games. He has only gone a combined 8 innings in those 2 games and given up 25 hits. Hard hit for Chavez out towards left. Baez catches it as he runs into the wall and falls halfway over the wall. And it's a long foul out. What a play there from Jeffrey Baez. Went half falling over the wall for out number 2. Good work from Baez there to haul in out number 2, and it brings up the right fielder Harrison DeNicola, who is 2 for 2 with a single and an RBI double. Right now, his RBI double is the game-winning run. First pitch to DeNicola is a called strike on the outside edge. Defense is playing him straight up on both sides of the infield. Outfield playing quite deep. Here comes the 0-1. Bounces in for ball 1, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Pleased you're joining us here on a Wednesday night on the Otters Digital Network. Otters trail in this game 8-2 after 2 separate innings of 4-run scores for Florence. The 1-1 to DeNicola. High outside, ball 2. If the Otters were to lose tonight, it would be their first series loss to a West Division team, and it would be their first series loss since their road series at Trois-Rivières almost a month ago. The 2-1 to DeNicola. Way inside. 3-1 the count now. No arms warming up for the Otters, at least right now. They're expecting Spring to see out this half inning. The 3-1. Called strike 2 on the high outside edge, but not by much. and it's a full count. Danicola had already halfway thrown the bat, able to keep hold of it when he realized it was a called strike 2. So it's a 3-2 payoff pitch with 2 outs and nobody on. Spring fires it home. Outside and high, ball 4. And it's a 2-out walk for Harrison Danicola, who has reached base in all 4 attempts today. It'll bring up the first baseman, Brendan Price. He hit the grand slam in the 5th inning. Other than that, Price walked once and struck out once in the earlier stages of the game. First option for Price in this one is a high outside fastball for ball 1. 1-0 is the count towards Brendan Price. Spring looks him down. There goes the runner. The throw out to second, not in time, but just about over sliding was Harrison Danicola. He's able to keep hold to the bag, and he's in with a stolen base. It's the 6th stolen base allowed by Dakota Phillips on the year. Tyler Spring now looking at a 2-0 count against Brendan Price. Only a force out at first now. And it's fouled through and hits Phillips' helmet. So the count's at 2-1 towards Brendan Price. Defense is expecting him to potentially pull a bit to the right. I think they're more worried about getting the sure thing out, playing very deep in the infield. The 2-1 to Brendan Price. High outside, ball 3. Tell you what, just about every time Spring is missed in this at-bat has been high and away. "3-1 is the count to Brendan Price. Pitch on the way, low inside, and it's another walk. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. Have runners on first and second, and the second baseman Ethan Stern heading to the plate. Still no action for the Otters in the bullpen. Ethan Stern so far in this game, a couple of singles, one with an RBI attached to it. Also had a ground out in the second. Spring really taking his time before the first pitch. On its way. It's lifted high, foul to the right side. It's going to get out of play, though. Sinsley was giving it a run over there, but it ends up probably, 10 or 12 rows up. So it's an 0-1 count to Ethan Stern with runners on first and second. Already has 1 RBI on the day. Long wait for Spring. Has himself composed. Sends it home on the 0-1. Swinging strike 2. Stern almost falls over after the hefty swing. And he's dropped to an 0-2 count. 0-2, the count to Ethan Stern with 2 outs and 2 on. Spring needs a strikeout here. Got him. Looking. High outside corner. Spring is able to avoid allowing a run in the 6th after giving up back-to-back 2-out walks. We head to the 7th inning. Otters still trail by 6. Couple of defensive changes get us set for the top of the 7th inning. Ian Bibiloni is going to check into left field, while Axel Johnson will move to center. That will pull Anthony Brocado out of the game. Leading off the inning for the Otters, Steven Sinsley. First pitch he sees, sends it real high out towards center, and it will be brought in by Johnson. The first play of the game that's been played under the sunlight. A little bit of sun and shadows out there in center field now. Probably the brightest it's been since maybe 4 o'clock this afternoon. Brings up the right fielder, Elijah Mcnamee, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. He's got a 25-game on-base streak on the line. First pitch to Mcnamee, a called strike on the outside edge. The 0-1 stays low on the outside edge. Mcnamee really watched that one come in. Defense playing straight up. The 1-1 on the way. Hefty swing from Elijah Mcnamee. He comes up empty-handed, and he's down in the count 1-2. One, two, the count to Elijah Mcnamee. On the way towards him, he sends it high and foul to the right side. It'll end up out of play, though, on the berm out there in right. And it just made a kid's night as he has himself a foul ball. 1-2 remains the count for Elijah Mcnamee. Dakota Phillips is due up next. The 1-2 stays low, evens the count at 2-2. Must have bounced into the catcher Stormes because he's going to take a brief little stroll behind home plate. And after seeing it, the home plate umpire Kevin Furman will waste some extra time. Looks like we are ready to continue playing baseball now. Two-two is the count for Elijah Mcnamee. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Otters only have 2 base hits. One was a 2-run home run for J.R. Davis. The other was a single for Anthony Torrellas. Other than that, only one other Otter is reached. That was Baez on a walk. The 2-2, low and inside. Stormes has to jump out there to keep it in front of him. And it's a full count to Elijah Mcnamee. These two squads will face off once more tomorrow night. 6:30 first pitch here from Florence, 5:30 Central Time there in Evansville. The 3-2 swinging strike 3 for Mcnamee, and he sits down with his second strikeout of the day, the 6th of the game for Yasiel Santana. And that will bring up the catcher Dakota Phillips, who is 0 for 1 with a flyout and a walk in the second inning. He came around to score after that walk on the home run from J.R. Davis. They pull the defense to the right side. First pitch towards Phillips. He cranks it towards that right side, right into the shift. Be played on 2 hops by Stern for out number 3. And it is the 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 7th. Otters still trail by 6. And we've got another new pitcher for the Otters, Samson Abernathy, the man out of the left field pen for him. That call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Abernathy on the mound, Phillips behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Tell them that Evan the Otters sent you. The rest of the defense looks just like it for the Otters. No changes for them. Run through both the line scores for the pitchers we've seen thus far. Watlin gives up 8 runs on 12 hits in 5 innings of work. Walks 2, strikes out just 3. Tyler Spring gave the Otters the inning that they needed, but was only able to, or he ended up giving up a couple of hits right out of the gates in that 5th inning. No runs allowed, though, and that was really important to keep the game where it's at least for the time being. Samson Abernathy will now check in here in the 7th inning, trying to finish things off. They have Watlin down for 5 innings, but I think technically he only managed to get the outs in 4. See what's going on there. Ian Biblioni. First pitch on the way to him, and it's way over the top of Phillips for ball 1 from Abernathy. Samson Abernathy, last pitch against Lake Erie. Gave up no runs on 1 hit in his 1 out that he allowed, but in the game that he appeared in right before that against Lake Erie, the first game of the series, he gave up 4 runs on 3 hits without recording a single out in that inning. He has struggled when inheriting runners this year. Luckily for this time, he is not inheriting any. Able to get a called strike 1, counts now 2-1. Two one towards Ian Biblioni. Inside, and the count's 3-1. Joel Lytle, Andres Stormus, both due up still in this bottom half of the 7th inning. Florence leads by 6. The 3-1 from Abernathy, put out towards right and foul. Ends up on the berm out there, actually hits a pole. There's a pole that holds up the netting behind home plate that extends the wire way out there, and it hit that one squarely. So it's now a full count to Ian Biblioni. Three, 2 outside, and it's a walk to Ian Biblioni. So that'll now bring up the designated hitter Joe Lytle, who's 0 for 3, 2 flyouts and a strikeout so far on his day. Defense goes to double play depth now with a runner on first, as Joe Lytle takes his time getting into the box. He's finally ready to go. First pitch, zoomed out towards left. Jeffrey Baez running after it, and will make the catch in fair territory for out number 1. An efficient at-bat there. Joe Lytle sees just 1 pitch. It'll bring up the catcher, Andres Stormus. A runner on first in the form of Ian Biblioni. On the season, Biblioni is 1 for 1 in stolen base attempts. Not necessarily a guy you have to keep worried about over there. First pitch to Stormus. Just misses on the high inside corner. But as soon as it came in, Phillips eyed down Biblioni over there at first. 1-0 the count. Catches the zone on the outside edge. Stormes knew that was probably his pitch to go after. So the count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and 1 on. The 1-1 just works outside, and it's a 2-1 count now. Abernathy trying to lead the Otters through this 7th inning, keep the game where it's at. The 2-1, high and inside, a 3-1 count now. And Abernathy is threatening to walk his second of 3 batters he's faced. Three and 1. Right back up the middle, down for a base hit. Miles Gordon will charge it and able to cut it off, so it's just a single. Runners now on first and second with just 1 out in the 7th. And the 9-hole hitter, Ray Zuberer, heads to the plate. 0 for 3 so far on the day. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Came around to score on the 2-run home run from Axel Johnson. Ray Zuberer steps in, waiting for his first pitch. Outside, ball 1. Long wait between pitches, and now time is called down there at first base where Andres Stormes is retying a shoe. Stormes at first, Biblioni at second, 1 out, and the Alls lead by 6. Abernathy takes his time on the mound, looking in for the next pitch call. Readies himself on the 1-0. Pitch on the way. Bouncing towards Davis at second. He'll go to second for 1. To first. Not in time. They will only get 1. It will move Biblioni to third, and Zuberer will reach on the fielder's choice. So back to the top of the order we go. And with runners on the corners, Axel Johnson heads to the plate. Easily been the biggest difference in this 2-game set so far. The walk-off winner last night, and a 2-run home run so far in this game. First pitch to Johnson, outside for ball 1. 1-0 is the count. Runners on the corners for the Alls. One 0 outside, ball 2. If this score would be the one that held to the end, it would be the biggest loss for the Otters so far this year. Their biggest one so far is 2 separate 4-run losses. 2-0 is the count to Axel Johnson. Takes another pitch up high this time. Ball 3 from Abernathy. And Abernathy is threatening to load the bases with a walk here. Defense playing a bit deep. And it's ball 4 on the inside. Johnson didn't realize it was ball 4. And the bases are loaded. Biblioni at third, Zuberer at second, Axel Johnson at first, and it brings up the shortstop, Alberti Chavez. who has 3 hits already in this game. Otters don't seem to have anyone warming up out in that bullpen in left field. At least not right now. Alberti Chavez. Wait on his first pitch. On the way. It almost hits him. He has to duck out of the way. And it's ball 1. Bases are loaded for the Alls. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They already lead by 6. But it could be improved by Alberti Chavez here. The 1-0 from Samson Abernathy is put foul into the netting to the right side. Second time in 2 nights I've seen Alberti Chavez do that. Right as he's getting ready to hit the ball, it's almost like he gets antsy, moves both of his feet back an inch or so before he swings the bat. Regardless, he's looking at a 1-1 count after fouling a pitch back into the netting. Abernathy waiting on his signs from home plate. Has it. And here comes the 1-1. Sent towards Davis, past him for a base hit. 1 run's going to score. They wave a 2nd run home. The throw home, not in time. Misplayed by Phillips, and everyone's going to advance. So it will be an RBI single for Alberti Chavez, and he'll advance on the throw. Earns 2 RBIs. 4 hits for Alberti Chavez now in the game. That's his first one with RBIs attached to it. It'll move Jackson to 3rd. Chavez will be on 2nd. Both Zuberer and Biblioni score. And it is now an 8-run game in favor of the Alls. Abernathy sends home the first pitch to DeNicola. It's a called strike on the outside edge. Defense playing deep on the right side and about midway on the left. 0-1 is the count to Harrison DeNicola. Pitch works outside and evens the count at 1-1. Only one in the entire ballpark that has to deal with the sun right now is Elijah Mcnamee out there in right field. Just a little bit of the sunset still pointing out there. The 1-1 to DeNicola. Outside yet again, 2 on the count. Otters have scored their 2 runs on just 2 hits. 1 belongs to Davis, 1 belongs to Torrellas. Meanwhile, the Alls have scored 10 runs on 14 hits. The 2-1, again missing high and outside is Abernathy. And he risks loading the bases again. Still no Otters warming up out and left. (3-1) the count to Harrison DeNicola with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. It's a called strike 2. DeNicola was about to toss the bat thinking it was ball 4. And it is now a full count with 2 outs and 2 on. 2 have already scored for the Alls in this half inning. Abernathy ready on the mounds. The payoff pitch to DeNicola. Fouled out of the glove of Phillips. And the count is still full. Tomorrow night, we've got a battle of lefties in this series. Joniker Villalobos will face off against Brett Adcock. Adcock is looking for a strong performance on the mound, struggling in his last 2. The payoff pitch to DeNicola. Hit strongly to the right side, through for another base hit. One run's going to score. Rounding third now is Chavez. The throw will not go home. So it's a 2-run single for Harrison DeNicola. Back-to-back 2-run singles. And just like that, the lead is now 10 for the Yalls. Still no one warming up for the Otters. Bases are now empty except for Harrison DeNicola over there at first. First option to Brennan Price from Abernathy is a called strike. For Abernathy, it's the second time in 3 appearances that he's allowed at least 4 runs. The 0-1, a half swing. They will not check to see if he went. Now they do. They say no, he didn't. So the count's even at 1-1. Look over to first for Abernathy. And he readies for the 1-1. Pitch on the way. Swinging, strike 2. Hands down the biggest deficit the Otters have seen all season. The runner on first is Harrison DeNicola. Brennan Price looking for his second base hit on a 1-2. Outside, evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Abernathy just looking to get this last out. Taking his time between some of these pitches. A look over to first, and he's ready on the 2-2. On the way. Chopped foul to the right side, and Price will live to see another pitch. Defense playing straight up and rather deep, praying they can get this last out against Brennan Price. Price had a grand slam back in the 5th inning. That was the one that really put this game away. The 2-2 pushed out to the left side and foul. He'll live to see another pitch. Good defensive hitting right now from Brennan Price. 2-2 is the count to Brennan Price. Abernathy fires home. Right back up at him. Through for another base hit. And there's runners on first and second now. 3 straight base hits. And since recording the second out, the last 4 have made it on. Ethan Stern. 2 hits already in this game. This pitch gets away from Phillips behind home plate, and both runners advance 90 feet. So it makes things much simpler now for Stern at the plate, as he's got 2 men in scoring position. DeNicola at third, Price at second. The 1-0 on the way home. Sent bouncing past George Khalil, and 2 more runs are going to score. The throw home is cut off by Sinsley. It might have actually been close. But it is a 2-run single from Ethan Stern. And it'll bring Ian Biblione to the plate for the second time in the inning. So for the second time tonight, every Yall has had a plate appearance in an inning. Almost surely could have been the last out of the inning, but Sinsley decides to cut it off and maybe go for a throw out to second. Ended up being significantly behind anyway. And Biblione sees ball one go by to start. 12-run lead now for the Yalls. They've scored 6 in this inning alone. The 1-0 gets past Felix, and the runner will advance. Otters just struggling to figure out the last out of this inning yet again. Max Peterson stays put in the dugout, but the entire infield for the Otters will go have a discussion on their own. This has been something we have not seen enough of from the Otters yet this year. Players taking some leadership and keeping each other accountable up there. The last couple of base hits have happened just because infielders are not in the perfect place to make a play, and they've been hard hit balls. Still no Otters warming up out in the left field bullpen. The 2-0 to Ian Biblione. Swinging strike one. First time in some time that Abernathy's really had a batter fooled. The 2-1 to Biblione. Swinging strike two. That's a 2-2 count. Abernathy just needs one strike to get the Otters out of what has been a very long bottom of the seventh for Evansville. A 2-2. Swinging strike three, got him to chase. And the Yalls score 6 here in the bottom half of the seventh inning. We head to the eighth. Otters trail by 12. Top of the eighth inning, and a pitching change commenced by the Yalls. They'll bring in Carl Craigie out of the bullpen, as Yansel Santana was pitching a gem for them so far through 7 innings. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Craigie on the mound. Stormus behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or you can call them at 812-475-9000. J.R. Davis starts off this bottom half of the eighth inning for the Otters. First pitch he sees, he fouls into the netting to the right side, and he's down 0-1 on the count. A little bit of a wait between pitches here now. Waiting for the home plate umpire, Kevin Furman, to make his way back behind the plate. He is there, and everyone will get back in their places. The 0-1 pitch from Craigie on the way home. Davis thinks about going around, checks his swing. It bounces in for ball one, and the count's even at 1-1. One is the count for J.R. Davis. Again, fouls one into the netting to the right side. And he's down in the count 1-2. Davis so far on the day is 1 for 2 with a 2-run home run and a strikeout. Otters have gone down 1-2-3 in the last 3 innings and in 4 of the last 5 innings. In fact, they've only had 4 base runners all night. Davis hits one sharply to the left side, foul. Nice snag from the headman, Andy McCauley, and he's going to hand out a souvenir to a lucky fan. And the count is still at 1-2 for J.R. Davis. Carl Craigie taking his time on the mound, now fires home a 1-2. A half swing from J.R. Davis. Yes, he did, says the first base umpire. And it's the second strikeout of the day for J.R. Davis. And it's the first one for Carl Craigie. It'll bring up the shortstop, George Khalil. George Khalil is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts so far in this game. The defense doesn't really change much for him. Pretty much straight up all the way around. First pitch he sees, and he cuts underneath the ball for strike one. 0-1 is the count towards George Khalil behind the plate. Pitch on the way to him. 0-1 works way outside, and his count evens up at 1-1. George Khalil trying to give the Otters some hope. Right back up the middle at Carl Craigie. He'll fire over to first, and plenty of time for the second out. And the third baseman, Anthony Torrellas, who has one of the 2 hits for the Otters, heads to the plate with a 1-2 line. Torrellas steps in there, the right-handed batter, playing third base for the Otters tonight. First pitch he sees, a hefty cut at it, and it's a swinging strike one. Torrellas made his professional baseball debut earlier this week for the Otters, and now has a second swinging strike on a pitch low and inside. So he's quickly down 0-2 in the count. The 0-2. So Torrellas lets it go by for ball one. Torrellas was a defensive substitution earlier this week. That's how he made his debut. But in his first time in the starting line, he got his first hit with a double there at Bosse Field. First professional hit for him. He's been a lot of fun to have around the guys here this week. Got to chat with him a little bit before batting practice yesterday. 1-2 the count. Pitch on the way. A half swing Did he go? No, he didn't, says the first place umpire. Able to check his swing just in time, and the count evens up at 2-2 with 2 outs and nobody on. Carl Craigie taking his time on the mound. Here comes the 2-2. Bounces in yet again, and the count's full at 3-2. Otters set the pace in this game with 2 runs in the second inning off a 2-run home run from J.R. Davis. They've managed just 1 hit since then, and it was this man Torrellas who picked it up. The 3-2, Torrellas pushes out towards right field. Danicola towards the wall, gone! And his second professional hit is a solo home run to right field. Man, he got a hold of that one. Wind didn't have to do much to it. And 2 of the 3 hits for the Otters have come from the newest member of the team, Anthony Torrellas. The big fly doesn't do a ton in the grand scheme of things, as the Otters still trail by 11. It'll bring up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, who's 0 for 3. First pitch he takes in the high outside corner for strike 1. Gordon right back in there. And here comes the 0-1. Works outside, and the count's even a ball and a strike. If Gordon can get himself on base, Zach Biermann would be up next. Long wait for Craigie on the mound. Here comes the 1-1 to Gordon. He fouls it off his foot and back into the netting. Biermann will pick it up there in the on-deck circle. And we're ready for the 1-2 towards Miles Gordon. Haven't seen the Otters have too much work out there in the bullpen. A swinging strike 3 from Gordon. The pitch gets away from the catcher, Stormus. And Gordon's actually going to reach as the catcher, Stormus, slipped trying to go after the ball over there. And a drop third strike allows Miles Gordon to reach base. It'll bring up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann, who is 0 for 3 thus far. Ball got away from Stormus, and at first, Miles Gordon wasn't running towards second. Then he heard his teammates yelling, run, 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 and he finally did. First pitch is outside ball 1 towards Zach Biermann. It's another guy that could change a game with one swing of the bat, but even a 2-run home run for him here doesn't do a whole ton. Otters would still be down by 9. The 1-0 to Biermann. He swings hard at one, comes up empty-handed, and the count's even at 1-1. Count at 1-1. On the way, Biermann thinks about going around, checks his swing, and it's ball 2. Defense has shifted hard to the right for him. Shortstop's playing almost right above second base. 2-1 towards Biermann. Lifts one high out towards shallow center. And the shortstop Chavez will bounce back and grab it for out number 3. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Otters are able to get 1 run, but they still trail by 11. Bottom of the 8th inning we go, and a new pitching change for the Otters. Jake Polancic will head out of the pen. Call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. And it's Polancic on the mound. New catcher is Brody Tanksley behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East. Located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. And there will be a pinch hitter to lead off this half inning in the DH spot, Alex Ludwig, who earned his first professional hit last night. First pitch is outside ball 1. 1-0 is the count. Catches just the edge of the zone for strike 1. Count evens at 1-1. Second appearance of the year for Brody Tanksley. Just a couple of games ago, he appeared for a piece of an inning with Samson Abernathy, but both were pulled out of the game before they could recover a single out. Ball pushed to the left side. Foul, and the count's at 1-2 now for Alex Ludwig. 1-1. Turns into 1-2 after the foul ball out there to left field. And Polancic sends home the 1-2. It's fouled back into the netting, keeping Ludwig alive at the plate. Ludwig, like I mentioned, managed his first professional hit last night. This is just the 6th game he's appeared in all season. The 1-2 on the way. That one stays low, and Tanksley's able to keep it in front of him. But the count's even at 2-2 now. Defense is set up pretty much straight out, hugging both corners just a little bit. As the 2-2 heads home to Ludwig. Extends his hands and fouls it into the glove of Tanksley for out number 1 on the foul tip strikeouts. Very good to see Jake Polancic able to come into the game and recover an out on the first batter he sees. Last night he faced 3 batters, did not recover a single out, walked 1 and hit 2. First pitch to Andres Stormus. Called strike 1 on the low inside corner. 0-1 is the count to Andres Stormus, who so far in the game, 2 for 4. 0-1 is outside, evens the count at 1-1. He's 2 for 4 with 2 singles and 2 flyouts to center. 1-1 the count to Stormus. Long wait for Polancic. Here comes the pitch. Swinging strike 2. Polancic changes things up a little bit there, goes a little quicker, and is able to snag a strike. 1-2 the count to Andres Stormus, and he calls time. Long wait for Polancic between some of these pitches. Here comes the 1-2. Zoomed out towards left. Baez will chase back and watch it go over the fence. Another home run. This one for Andres Stormus. It is the 2nd home run of the year for Stormus. And just like that, the lead's right back out at 12. 15 runs now for Florence. Evansville struggling to get anything going with their bullpen in yet another game. And that is the most runs the Otters have given up all year. First pitch to Ray Zuberer. Skied high towards the left side, shallow, and it's brought in by Khalil for out number 2. Back to the top of the order we go, where once again, it is Axel Johnson who makes his way to the plate. 2 for 4 with a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning, single in the 5th, and a walk in the 7th. Axel Johnson waiting for his first offering of this at-bat. It's a called strike 1. Defense yet again, playing straight up, but hugging the corners on both sides. An 0-1 to Johnson. Works inside on him. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Polancic taking his time there on the mound. Fires home on the 1-1. Way outside, 2-1 the count now. Two-one the count towards Axel Johnson with 2 outs and no one on. Fouls one back into the netting. The count evens up at 2-2. These two squads will face off tomorrow night, 6:30 local time, 5:30 back there in Evansville. Then they will head to the Cleveland area for a 3-game set with Lake Erie this weekend. The 2-2 sent towards Davis on the ground at second. He'll pick it up, fire to first in plenty of time for out number 3. 1 run scores for the Yalls on a solo home run from Andres Stormus. We head to the 9th inning, and the Otters trail by 12. Harrison Tanigla, the right fielder, will take over on the mound here in the 9th inning. He'll face Jeffrey Baez, Steven Sinsley, and Elijah Mcnamee. Baez ready to go there on the mound. The first pitch is low and away for ball 1 to Jeffrey Baez. A 1-0 crank to the left side, through for a base hit for Jeffrey Baez. Just the 4th hit of the game for the Otters. And it'll bring up Steven Sinsley with no one out and a runner on first. Defense is playing at double play depth. Sinsley and Mcnamee still due up for the Otters. First pitch stays high and outside for Sinsley. The 1-0 works outside for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Steven Sinsley. The 2-0. Sinsley watches it go by for ball 3 now. The 3-0 for Steven Sinsley. Pitch works inside for ball 4. Back-to-back men get on for the Otters. Facing a position player on the mound in Harrison DeNicola. It'll bring up Elijah Mcnamee, who's trying to keep together his 25-game on-base streak. Sinsley at first, Baez at second. First pitch to Elijah Mcnamee. Watches it go by. A little bit low for ball 1. So Mcnamee's looking at a 1-0 count. Throw towards him. He takes a fastball to the high inside corner. The count ends up at a ball and a strike. Mcnamee so far on the day, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a flyout. The 1-1 works way outside, 2-1 the count. Tell you the best part about a position player pitching, no time between pitches. They just really go right along. 2-1. The throw home towards Mcnamee. Way inside. 3-1's now the count. Sinsley at first, Baez at second, no outs. Otters have a ton of ground to make up. The 3-1 to Mcnamee, and he takes strike 2 at the high inside corner. It's a full count for him. Full count pitch with no outs and runners on first and second. Mcnamee waiting on the payoff pitch, almost gets him in the hands, and he will walk to first. And that extends the 25-game on-base streak to 26 just by the skin of his teeth. Bases are loaded as the catcher Brody Tanksley heads to the plate. And for Brody Tanksley, this will be his very first at-bat since joining the Otters. And a pitching change is, or not a pitching change, but a meeting at the mound is needed real quick. As Brody Tanksley is trying to do something with his at-bat. Tanksley is getting his first opportunity at the plate since joining the Otters a couple weeks ago. First pitch for him. Called strike on the inside edge. Tanksley waiting on the 0-1. Stays up high. Count ends up at a ball and a strike. One ball and one strike to Brody Tanksley. Checks his swing in time, so the count goes to 2-1. Bases are loaded with no outs here in the 9th inning. Otters trying to do something about this 12-run advantage. Ball lasered past the third baseman, Zubair. One run's going to score, and that is all that will come around. An RBI base hit in his first at bat for the Otters for Brody Tanksley. So everyone moves 90 feet as Brody Tanksley earns his first base hit since joining the Otters. This one has an RBI attached to it. And it's not much. They still have a lot of room to go. But the Otters have given themselves at least one run in this ninth inning. They trail by 11. Brings up J.R. Davis, who hit the two-run home run earlier in the game. Right back up the middle. One run's going to score. A second one, no. They're going to keep the runner Mcnamee at third, and it'll be another opportunity where everyone moves 90 feet. J.R. Davis with an RBI single. Two runs have scored now in the ninth inning. So it's a 10-run game now. Still a lot of room to go, but the Otters trying to do something. There are pitchers warming up for Florence just in case out there in right field, since they do have a position player pitching right now. First pitch to George Khalil is across for ball one, just a bit low. The 1-0 to Khalil. Bouncing ball towards short. He'll step on second for one. To first in time, and it's an RBI double play. 6-3, the official double play for Khalil, but he does earn an RBI there. So with two outs and a runner on third in the form of Brody Tanksley, the third baseman Anthony Torrellas heads to the plate. Earned his third professional hit in his last at-bat, and it was his first career home run as a pro. First pitch he takes for strike one on the high end. 15-6 the score as the Otters have scored a trio of runs here in the ninth. Torrellas sends one chopping towards Chavez at short. He'll throw to first in time to end the game. The Owls are going to win this one, 15-6. They controlled this one from the third inning on. We'll take a very short break, and we've got postgame coming at you here as the Otters fall in game two and lose their first series in nearly a month here on this Wednesday night. We'll be right back. And for the final time this evening, welcome into Florence, Kentucky, where the Otters have dropped this one 15-6. They set the pace early. A two-run home run in the second inning from J.R. Davis gave the Otters a quick 2-0 lead. But in the bottom half of the third, Florence took over. They scored a couple of runs on a two-run home run from Axel Johnson, tying the game. Then scored a run by Harrison DeNicola in the third inning as well, an RBI double. They didn't look back from there. Another RBI for Ethan Stern later in the third had him up 4-2. They scored four more runs in the fifth on a grand slam from Brendan Price. Then really exploded in the seventh, scoring 6 runs on 5 hits in the seventh inning alone. The Otters were able to get a couple of runs in the later stages of things, grabbing a solo home run in the eighth by Anthony Torrellas. Big congrats to him. And then while facing a position player on the mound, the Otters managed 3 runs in the ninth inning, but nothing close to getting them back into the game. They fall 15-6, and because of it, they have lost this game and lost the series, and will have to try to avoid the sweep tomorrow. It's the first time the Otters have lost the sweep since starting Western Division play there at the end of May. Looking forward, the Otters will face this team once more tomorrow night. 6:30 is the time that they are planning on starting from here. 5:30 is the start there in Evansville due to the little bit of time difference. We'll take one last look through the Fox Sports Wyfx Frontier League scoreboard. Of course, Windy City defeated Joliet earlier this evening. Trois Rivières defeated Tri-City 3-1 in Game 1 of their doubleheader. Washington leads Lake Erie 5-0 in the 7th inning. In Game 2 of the doubleheader, Tri-City is leading Trois-Rivières 5-4. A final from Ottawa, Sussex County with another win over the Titans 6-4. That's a couple of big road wins for the Miners. In the bottom of the 3rd, New Jersey leads Empire State 4-0. Quebec leads New York 2-0 in the top of the 9th. And Schaumburg holds a 4-2 lead over Gateway in the bottom of the 7th inning. With the loss, the Otters will luckily stay put at their points here at 2nd place in the Western Division, but they've really got to make sure they're not losing too much ground to Washington and keeping themselves near the top of the pack. We've got an interesting matchup tomorrow. A couple of lefties. Jonaker Villalobos will take the mounds for these Florence Yalls. Brett Adcock looking for redemption on the mound for the Otters. Only lasted 3 innings in his last 2 starts. He really needs a big performance tomorrow. I know he's got family in attendance as well. Would be a great opportunity for him to bounce out and do it. That'll do it for our coverage here this evening. Otters fall in this one 15-6. They led early, and then, well, the Yalls took over and didn't look back. We'll join you once again tomorrow night. Pre-game show starts at 5:20 Central Time here on the Otters Digital Network. Once again, I thank you for joining me here on the Otters Digital Network. It's been a pleasure to bring you Otters coverage here on a beautiful Wednesday night from Florence. I will talk to you tomorrow night at about 5:20 Central Time, 6:20 here in Florence as the Yalls and Otters do battle once more. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters Baseball. I'll talk to you tomorrow night.